Dave,
Ian,
and Kevin. Hello.
Hey guys.
We're very honored to have you on the show, Kevin. Look at us stumbling.
Man, professional.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're honored to have you on the show. We came across your work via Car Bibles, Twitter. You're a fantastic automotive journalist, and we had to reach out to talk to you. Welcome to our show, Kevin.
Thanks guys. I'm glad to be here.
Let's get one thing out of the way just right off the top. Both of you are like a particular flavor of idiot. And it's a delicious flavor.
It's fine that you say that about me, but not our guest, Ian.
And very stylish. It's a very stylish flavor. A very stylish, delicious Italian flavor of idiot. You both own Fiat 500 Abarths or have rescued Fiat 500 Abarths, correct?
Correct.
I like that he's like trying to lead us with questions. Like this is an intervention that
I mean, I guess I'm an addict because like I need the intervention. I would be the one on that show, you know. I don't need that.
Right.
I'd storm angrily out of the room.
Right. Huffing the keyboard duster, whatever that lady was doing.
Right. I love my it's a problem. So
how did it come across your radar? Was it something you always wanted? How did it like fall into your lap? Kind of like
it definitely fell into my lap, at least for me, because I know a lot of people think that I like plan to buy a lot of the cars that I have. For those who don't follow me on Twitter, I'm always buying random shit. I kind of have always been like this. I buy and sell cars to make money, but I'm always just like, you know, on the prowl for something interesting. So I bought a Fiat 500L back in February of 2021. The guy said he couldn't get it to start. He only wanted $2,000 for it, and it was a 2015 with the actual ASIN automatic instead of the DCT that blows up.
Right.
So I'm like, well, for $2,000, what's the worst that could happen? And turns out it just needed an ignition and a ground cable.
Really?
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, ignition, a ground cable, and then like all four tires were mismatched and like it was missing a trim piece. But after that, like I ended up selling it for $5,200, which I learned later was way too low because this was right before the used car market got crazy.
Really?
Yeah. So then I was like, I guess the algorithm noticed that I purchased that Fiat off of Facebook Marketplace, and then it said you might be interested in this, and it was a broken Fiat 500 Abarth. 5 miles from my house. The listing said $3,000, which is already a really good price. But he put in the listings, like it wouldn't let me list it lower. The engine's blown up. And I'm like, this is probably fucking fake. But I messaged him anyway.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah, come out and see it. And I'm like, well, looks like I have an Abarth now.
I just love the instinct of like, well, this is bullshit. Here I go. You know, and I'm still gonna go through with it.
Exactly. That people really think, and I'm like, you know, have these huge plans. Like, no, it is really not. No, I have a lizard brain.
Right.
Like I buy things because I think they're kind of interesting and they're cheap.
Yeah.
I should probably reverse the order of operations. More so they're cheap. Then I think they're interesting.
Okay.
Right. I do love the idea of add to cart as an out of body experience. That's always it's always a good sign that you're making a good decision.
It's funny. I knew that the car was like, I mean, I'm not dumb. I know what Fiat 500 Abarths are. And I knew that this guy was going to be blown the fuck up for this listing. So I messaged him and I said, I'm probably the closest in distance to you, and I have $1,500 right now. And then I set my alarm for 6 a.m. And he got back to me at 6:45. It says, you want to come out today? You're like, yep, I got cash.
Hell
Nice.
Yeah. I think that car was listed hour and a half before he sold it to me.
Okay.
Amazing. So what ended up being wrong with it? What was your journey with it? Like, what'd you end up doing?
So it's funny. The guy said he blew the motor up, and I was fully prepared to pay somebody to replace an engine.
Sure.
And I guess he took it he didn't really want the car anymore because he was towing Sea-Doos with it.
Oh.
Jet skis, right? These cars aren't rated to tow at all, but he had a hitch installed. And he loved the car, but he had a big-ass dog, so he had, like, he had removed the rear seat, so there was no receipt. The car was coated in dog hair. The body was generally good, but it's just like he clearly needed a different vehicle, and he got that in the form of a Jeep Wrangler. So now he had a manual like year-old Wrangler. He had this broken Fiat that like he really didn't have any use for. So he took it to, I guess, Firestone. There's like a Firestone right by the guy's house. And the Firestone said, oh, there's engine damage. There's oil in cylinders 3 and 4. Or I take that back. There's oil in cylinder 4. So when I came to look at the car, sure as hell, it was misfiring and it was running like dog shit. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. This is still a really good price at $1,500. Like a used engine with not that many miles was anywhere from like $600 to $2,000.
Right.
So like, it really wouldn't have been a hard, much of a stretch for me to pay somebody to put an engine in it. So I paid the guy, and then I drove home. And as I was driving home, I noticed that the car was just starting to run a little bit better. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's an engine. So I got the car home, and the next day, and I'm like, why don't I just give it hell and see what happens?
Italian
and it started
tune-up.
running great. Really though, it ran great. I'm like, what on earth? So I started going to the Fiat forums, the broken Fiat group on Facebook, and it says, oh yeah, these things are very sensitive with spark plugs. Like they need to be done every 30,000 miles, and there's really only one option for spark plugs for these vehicles. If you do anything else, the car will run silly. So I was like, well, let me just take a look at these spark plugs. And I pull out the plug on cylinder 3 and the diode's missing.
Well, there's a problem.
A problem.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing's probably in the engine. So I, take a scope and look. Everything looks fine. Compression test the engine. Everything's fine. I'm like, let me throw a set of plugs at this and see what happens. And that was 16,000 miles ago.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
It still had some other issues. It still had some other issues, like the half shafts had like the boots had torn, so they were pretty destroyed. Sure. The shifter was really stiff from left to right, so I had to fix that. And then I ended up breaking the shift linkage bushings while doing that. So I had to replace that. The clutch ended up going out about 4,000 miles later, but that was fine. The car had 125,000 miles on it, so I'm like, it's probably about time.
Okay.
Wow. Was that the original clutch and he had been towing stuff with it?
Exactly. Like he got his money's worth.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's impressive.
Yeah, he really got his money for it. And it's funny because like I honestly expected this car to be a piece of shit. And it kind of is a little bit, but also not. Like I don't think it's that good, but I don't think it's that bad either.
Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow, 16,000 miles. Just crushing it.
Yeah, I got it with 125K and now I'm at 143.
Okay.
So maybe more than 16. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's been running good ever since.
That's amazing.
It burns a little bit of oil, but don't they all? So who cares?
Yeah. That's amazing. We have very similar trajectories towards our Fiat ownership. Unfortunately, mine was much more of an expensive repair.
Yeah.
It properly cooked one of the exhaust valves. And so it required head off work and all that stuff. And like, so heat management, if you haven't run into it by now, like with the heat management under the hood of that thing, you're set, man. Like you keep up on like the Motul excess oil changes and throw the good stuff at it. And like, I mean, you literally wrote the book on it, the Car Bible's article on the Fiat 500 Abarth, Yeah.
I feel like there's just too many people that are unfair to this car.
Okay.
They say so many things. Oh, it's unreliable. But when you ask them, they can't quantify it.
Right. Also, if you complain about it being reliable, then fuck off and buy another car. Right.
Buy a fucking Civic LX.
Right. I want the Abarth noises with the exhaust. I want my Brat Braps. And
exactly.
It's a car that makes people smile when they see it. Like I
think it's more interesting than the Fiesta ST too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 And I like the Fiesta ST, but it feels like what it is, like a really nice Fiesta with an escape motor.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Fiesta is a great car and it drives great. And the Fiat is silly, but that's what makes it so great because it's very silly. I mean, the driving position is insane.
Hilarious.
I like the driving position. Then I realized that like I think I'm probably one of the shorter people in the automotive journalism field. I'm only like 5'9".
Okay.
I mean, I'm shorter than you, and I still think it's odd. Like, it just the angle of the steering wheel is what I think
And
throws me
you
off
just
a bit.
sit
And
so high. Yeah.
yeah, sitting
You
so
do.
high feels weird, but yeah.
It's funny. I had a track ride along, and like the instructor got in the passenger seat, and he's like, "Can I lower this seat?" And I'm like, "Nope."
No, bitch. Here we go.
And he was like 6'2", and I felt so bad for him because he's just like in there, and I'm like, well, because my car also has a sunroof, which like even takes even more headroom out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, your boy over here is 6'4", and I don't know, I don't know how it works, but it does.
honestly, how does it work for you? Because this thing is it's great for me. I'm short. So.
One of the first texts, so I bought it off of a friend of ours. Her name is Jessie. And it sat in her yard for a while. She didn't know what to do with it. And like in my mind, I lost a Saab Viggen at the track. And so I was like missing that and going through all the emotions and, like acting out on Craigslist. And I was like, God, what? Like for some reason I found that if you get the Fiat Abarth or the Fiat 500 without the sunroof, you have like an extra 3 inches of headroom.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right? Yeah. And like, so I found like on other forums, like people saying like, yeah, no, I'm like over 6 foot and I fit fine without the sunroof. And so like I texted Jessie and I was like, does your car have the sunroof? And she said no. And like in my head, as soon as she said that, I was like, no matter what, I have to have this car. I don't care if I have to do a new engine. I don't care. Like I have to have it. Yeah. Yeah. It works.
It does. It's funny. I actually conned my mechanic into buying one too.
Yes.
He did my clutch. He does like most of my flip car stuff.
Okay.
And basically when I don't feel like doing something, I pay him. So I knew the clutch was going to be a hard job, and I'm like, I'm just going to farm this out to someone. So I had him do it, and then he like fell in love with it. And his wife came by the shop and she says, well, I want one too.
Okay.
And about a month ago, there was another broken Abarth, no compression, $1,700. And I'm like, here you go. It's almost the same as mine, but his doesn't have the upgraded audio or sunroof.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It has leather, but no heated seats.
Oh, weird.
It's kind of an odd.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Because mine doesn't have leather, but it does have heated seats.
Okay. And I have the 2012, so I have the sport seats that are cloth.
Okay.
No heated seats, but the Bose audio with the subwoofer under the seat, not the Beats with the subwoofer in the back.
Yeah, I have the Beats with the subwoofer in the back.
Right. Yeah.
But I had 16s. Now I bought some 17s.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I have 16s for it that I just plasti dipped over the weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it seems
No,
like those
17,
16s
sorry.
are such a. Okay, you have 17s. Those
Yes,
16s are
yes.
such a weird size to find tires for
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
because they're like a little bit like narrow and a little bit like narrow in every direction. So, and then also like I really wanted the 17. So I found a guy on the Fiat 500 Abarth forums who was in West Virginia,
Okay.
and he's like, "That's only like 3 hours for me." So I was like, "Hey, you got these still?" And they had junk tires on them, which is fine because I ended up putting some summer tires on them anyway. And for $300, I had a set of white Abarth wheels.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to share my screen and pull up your Twitter profile because your Abarth looks freaking fantastic, man. It looks so good.
It's really started out because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it because at the time when I got the Abarth, I had I had 2 different Fiats. I feel like I had a third car too. I was daily driving my Chevy Sonic.
Okay.
I had a Sonic LTZ because before I started automotive journalism, I was a Lyft driver.
Okay.
And I had a 6-speed turbo Chevy Sonic that I bought with 45K in 2018, 2017. No, I take that back. I got it in 2016. And then I sold it in 2021 with 225K.
Wow. Okay. Well done, man.
Yeah, I think that's also part of the reason why people are always like talking about, oh, this is unreliable. This is, like, are you sure? Because I mean, Like I've owned vehicles that have been supposedly, kind of
Yeah.
middling
Yeah.
as far as reliability goes, and like I just, keep them on the road. Although I will, to be fair, I did sell the Sonic to a guy. It had the wastegate had like stopped working, so it had a hard time generating boost. So it was really, really slow when I let it go. And I probably could have fixed it, but I had got the Abarth running really nicely.
Nice.
So I ended up keeping it. Because at first I was
Nice.
like, I'm probably just going to sell the Abarth. And then like after a week, I'm like, nope, this is my car now.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Because my whole idea, I was going to have all this content for Car Bibles. Like, I'm going to hook up the Sonic and like, take a track day because now I have the money to do so. And wouldn't it be so fun to have like an old Lyft driver car on the track? And then the Abarth came along and I'm like, nope, we're not doing that.
Right.
But
like it just scraped off the desk.
But I ended up selling it to a guy who, I guess he was on a dare with his friend. They had left some sort of race event at Mid Ohio, and I guess his friend dared him. Was like, if you find something that's a cheap stick shift, you should track it. Like
Okay.
if you find it on the way home, and it was my car, so I sold it to him for $1,400, and then they turned it into a track rat. And he says, like, I bought this car as a joke, but honestly, with some tires, I am like eating the hell out of like Corvettes.
That's awesome.
He actually tried to sell it back to me. He tried to sell it back to me like a month and a half ago. I'm like, nah, man. At the time I think I had 4 cars. I'm like, man, I can't. I can't put it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That's really
That's
funny.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Unreliable. Well, Kevin has some receipts he'd like you to see.
I feel like these cars are unreliable to people who don't pay attention to vehicles.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
They're unreliable
like,
appliances for sure.
correct. I don't know if I would encourage somebody who's not mechanically inclined to buy one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. They're
Well,
not
even
Like if you've been driving Corollas for the past 20 years, you're going to be disappointed with the Fiat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think Dave and I talk about this all the time too, about like it's not even being able to fix stuff. It's just the sympathy of like knowing when a rattle is a rattle and knowing when it's like cause for concern. Like there's like a sense that you develop over a period of time driving kind of shitty cars that
Very true.
You learn that stuff. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Kevin, your Abarth looks fantastic. I love it in black, and those white wheels are freaking awesome, man.
The white wheels are fantastic.
They're
When I saw
great.
them for $325, I'm like, I gotta get it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you do, especially since they have the 4x98 hub size.
exactly. You can use wiggle studs, but to me, that's so dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. I'm finally getting off the wobble studs or whatever. Yeah, and I got the adapters and spacers, and so yeah, it's going to be actually proper bolted from now on. So yeah.
And it's funny, when I went to go get those wheels, I drove in the 500L, which is actually a surprisingly useful vehicle. I feel like auto journalists were too mean to that car too.
Yeah,
It is very ugly, though, right? I mean, it is not a good looking car.
I feel like that's the only problem. It is ugly. That is the only
Right.
problem with the 500L. If it was better looking, I think it would have sold better.
yeah.
I mean, but it looks like somebody left your Barth at the bottom of a lake for 3 months. Like it doesn't look good.
Because I like how the 500X looks, and I really like that car. I have a soft spot in my heart for it. I know it, but yeah, I know. Yeah, hey, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We're all here because we have problems, okay?
We do. We really do. I keep buying these dumbass cars. I mean, I had a Daewoo. So.
That's right. Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah. So what ended up happening with the Daewoo? And tell people who are online what the Daewoo situation was.
Yeah. So there is another outlet, Alt Motorsports. The editor-in-chief there, Jake Thewis, and a few other people. They have like a Rainbow Road rallycross where it's kind of like LGBTQ oriented, and they do kind of like Top Gear-esque stunts where you don't have to. You can kind of run what you bring to the track, but they also have like themes where you only spend, $1,500 on a vehicle and then you follow the theme. And the theme last year was orphaned brands or orphaned models. And I said, you know what? It's the most orphaned vehicle, a fucking Daewoo.
Right.
Because I mean, people were coming up with Pontiacs and like
Sure.
Eagles and stuff. And I'm like, those are cool, but like, that's not really like, you can find Pontiac parts.
Right.
Right.
This is an orphan, the company that had the largest corporate debt in history.
Is that true?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Daewoo at one time had the largest corporate debt in history. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I was like, well, let me see what I can find. I either wanted a Suzuki Forenza or like a Daewookie, or I wanted a Daewoo like proper. And I happened to find this Lanos in Dayton, Ohio, so about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. It only had 66,000 miles, and he wanted $1,200 for it.
Dude, and I don't hate the looks of it. I think it's kind of cute.
So
It was complete crap. I paid him $800, and it was a hot mess.
was it like $400 too much at $800?
Exactly. It was.
Okay.
I was
So-
fooled by the low miles, and it actually really did run right. It ran fine, like it never overheated, but the body looked good, but underneath a lot of rust had like taken its toll on like, let's say there was a power steering line that had completely disintegrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
What year was this one? It was a 99.
99 was an auto
Okay.
too.
And so I thought, at some point, Daewoo had some badge engineering stuff going on, right? But did this
All of
share
them were. So
components?
Daewoo spent a lot of time with GM.
Right.
Like if you look at a lot of like, because technically this is actually my second Daewoo I've owned. If you really think
Okay.
about it, because the Chevy Sonic was like definitely kind of a Daewoo car.
Yeah.
If you look on a lot of like Chevy Cruzes or Chevy Traxxas or Chevy Sparks, you'll see GM DAT, which is
Okay.
now short for which is now also called GM Korea. But DAT stands for Daewoo Auto Technology.
Okay. That's what I thought they were GM, but that went back to the Geo days, right?
Before that, I think it was like in the early '80s, late '70s.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't realize that.
Like a lot of early Daewoo cars were like Isuzus,
Yeah.
also technically GMs. But yeah, underneath that's the same chassis as the Opel Astra.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like it's really just a sexy Pontiac Le Mans.
Right.
It really is. Like they have a lot in common. Like if you look at like one of the I did an Instagram story about it. One of the things that are shared really common with the cars is that like the steering rack is like miles in the air. Like
Really?
the steering rack is like right underneath the windshield cowl.
What?
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know if you ever seen like an '01 Civic. It's kind of like that.
Huh.
Okay. So, are there modern GM cars like can you just swap
No.
parts onto them at all?
Not
Yeah.
nope, not at all.
Shut that down. No.
Nope, not at all. Like somebody told me that you can probably get some from like an Astra overseas,
Oh wow.
but I think Daewoo changed a lot of like little specifications. Like for example, the front sway bar like end links had like disintegrated, and I did not find them until 2 days before I was supposed to like leave,
Wow.
and they came from Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Of all places, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I tried to fix the ABS sensor, and the whole bracket that holds the ABS sensor to the like whole front wheel like spindle had completely dissolved.
Okay.
Wow.
And then I looked on the Daewoo forum, and apparently like some guy back in maybe 2015 in the UK had the same problem, and it was never answered.
Oh, that's got to be one of the saddest forums ever. Like the
Yeah,
unanswered
Daewoo forum.
that
Yeah.
you stumble
Yeah.
upon like 7 years later. Oh,
Exactly.
Hey.
You know what's weird about the car? It was actually kind of nice to drive.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask because it has the look of a car that suffers from the type of understeer that's actually scarier somehow.
No,
But it doesn't. It
No.
was it good?
It has potential. I would
Huh.
say mine was like kind of shitty because I had like, shitty used tires on it. And then also the transmission was going out. But when you finally actually, the worst thing I could say about it is that it was slow. It was
Mhm.
really slow. But it was actually really predictable. It rode nice. Um,
Hmm.
I have another piece I think of like I could understand why somebody in 1999 would have bought one of these.
Okay. Okay. Like hopping into that mindset. Like, yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
if it wasn't the cheapest car in '99, it couldn't have been far, right? I mean, it was dirt cheap then,
I
right?
think it might not have been that cheap, but mine in particular had a lot of stuff. Like it had ABS, it had
Oh,
air conditioning, it had power locks, it had an automatic.
Two
Um,
horn buttons on the steering wheel.
exactly, three horn buttons. It had like I think it had a CD changer at one point in time. So like
Okay.
back in '99, that was hot shit.
yeah.
My sister's boyfriend at the time back then worked at a Daewoo dealership. And like, I
Mhm.
just, oh, he was just, yeah, I just can't like separate Daewoo and this dude in my mind. And like,
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. That's actually one of the things I didn't realize. Like, I didn't realize how poor I grew up until like I started writing about this Daewoo, because there
okay,
were so many people who were like, "I've never seen one of these before," and I'm like, "Really? They were kind of common where I
right.
was." Then I
Yeah,
just realized that everybody was poor, so they bought these cars because that's kind of all they could afford.
Hmm.
right. I mean, they had a
If you,
market and they went after it.
they had a market, and also if you look back on how these things were sold, they were kind of like door to door Avon Mary Kay style. Like I could absolutely see like so many people that I knew that like sold like MLM stuff accidentally buying a Daewoo because the whole concept of how the car was sold was familiar to them.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
I didn't
Huh.
realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's really cool.
Huh. Yeah.
But now it's Coke cans. So
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? So I hadn't had that much track experience. It's funny. I took the Fiat to a beginner's track day the day before I took out the Daewoo. But the thing is, though, the Fiat track day was only maybe at an hour and a half, but the Daewoo's track day was in Virginia, and it was 6 hours drive. And
Right.
I had got a press car. I had a Honda Ridgeline we had talked somehow convinced Honda to give me a Ridgeline so I could tow it out there, and I had never towed before.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Learning all
So
of the
I
things.
literally had like six first things happen in one weekend, and I'm like, wow, I am really fucking stupid. And then like the day I was supposed to leave, I realized that my tires were not going to pass tech because they were too crinkly. So I had to throw another set of like really cheap used tires on it. So I ended up leaving late. And I'm just driving out there, and I'm like, man, I have all these firsts, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
What was the of all of them? What was the scariest? I know what it would be for me, but like, was it the track day that was the scariest? Was it
it was the towing,
the towing?
because
That's what.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you guys know about like Appalachia, but those
Mhm.
roads get really really tight and twisty. And
Yeah.
I don't think the Ridgeline is all that great at towing,
Okay.
and it's on a U-Haul trailer. So I'm like, and it's like 2 in the morning that I'm driving, and I'm just like wiped out, nervous for this track day, not sure if my car's going to pass tech, and I'm in this like basically car with the back hacked off, driving through Appalachia, and it's like pitch black.
Yeah.
Kevin, this is how some
That's
horror
scary.
movies start. Like,
It
100%.
really is, and it's funny. Like the car was just like so inappropriate for the task. I think I got like 13 miles to the gallon towing out there and back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just fucking awful. I hate this thing.
right.
But
Right.
yeah, the Daewoo did surprisingly well.
I mean, could it,
Obviously, I was one of the slower cars there. Obviously, some people had gotten like really really fast vehicles for $1,500 because it was supposed to be orphan and dead brands. So it was like I said, a lot of Pontiacs, a few Ford Focuses. Like the guy who won somehow found a $1,500 Ford SVT Focus.
oh,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, which everyone else was kind of like bullshit a little bit, but whatever.
Right. Right. You paid him $1,500, then you paid him another $6,000 after that.
Exactly, because I was like, this is way nicer to be $1,500. And then like I think second or third place were the Gears and Queers guys. They had a 2.5 Rabbit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we actually talked to them about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we were at the same event. So then I had my little Daewoo with an automatic Daewoo with a slipping transmission. I had like a half day of track experience that I had the day before
Right.
on mismatched tires, and I was just like, I'm just gonna give it hell. So
Yeah.
I
You know
was
what?
slow as hell.
Well, but and you know what you had more than anybody? Built-in excuses, which is what you want when you go to the track.
It's funny because like first day it did great, although like I kept having to get a jump because for some reason like the battery would just deplete itself. But after I got a jump start, like it would run all day.
Huh.
It was not very fast and it shifted like shit. But it ran. And then the second day, like, you know what, let me actually put some more energy into this. I got a nice good night's sleep. I had a better idea the track was doing, and like, you know what, let's run this and see what happens. So I just started doing neutral drops. And I started like catching up. I really did though. Like I started looking at my times and I started actually like, placing ahead of a few cars. Like I think I beat an Eagle Vision,
Hell
um,
yeah.
a Saturn SC2, and those cars are faster than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the last heat, I smelled rotten eggs. I'm like, oh, I must be destroying my catalytic converter. But whatever, this car is going to the funeral home as soon as I'm done with it. And did the last heat on the last day. I did the practice lap and I gave it too much, and the thermostat housing exploded.
Yeah.
So I come back to the
I've
front
never
and like,
heard about that happening in a car ever. The housing.
I've never heard about that. The housing exploded, and like I thought, I was like driving back, and all of a sudden see all this steam, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm on fire, and then I smell it, like, oh no, that smells sweet. That's just coolant. So I pull back, and I'm just like billowing steam. They push me off the track, and I look down, and there's coolant everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it must have been pretty spectacular. Yeah.
It really was. You know what's even worse? Like if I had some duct tape and like some coolant, I probably could have gone back out there.
Yeah.
By this point, it was literally the last heat of the event, and like, you know what, man, I think I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's when you just stand back, salute, and just get back in the ridge line and go.
That's basically what I did. I loaded it up, and then I ended up leaving the next morning, and then I ended up donating it a week later to the Volunteers of America.
Yeah.
So I guess it sold for $600.
I mean,
I'm like, well, good luck.
Yeah.
'Cause I sure as hell didn't fix it. I literally just had it towed down there, and now it's. I'm pretty sure it's probably Coke cans by now. That thing was
Yeah.
pretty deep.
I want someone to put like a Hayabusa engine in one. Okay, that's what I want for one of these.
I like the look. I mean, obviously you have an affinity
it's
for
a well-styled car.
yeah, right? For small hatchbacks, right? Like, I mean, yeah, they're great. Yeah.
I'm
Huh.
not gonna lie. If it was a 5-speed, I feel like it would be. I might still have it.
Right. It could be
Yeah.
delightfully shitty instead of like kind of unbearably shitty, right?
That transmission was bad. Like it was slip real. It started slipping worse by the time I let it go. We tried to do a transmission just drain and fill, and it didn't help.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be a lot of stuff in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it had been. I guess the guy he got it from, that I bought it from, it was some old woman's. I guess it was her last car, and she needed some work done in her house, and she couldn't afford to pay him, so she just gave him the car, and he tried to give it to his son, and his son was like, "Hell no."
A woman died in this.
I think she's still living, but I think it was under the impression it was her last car, which is funny because the iMeave I think is also somebody's last car. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I keep buying like old women's last cars.
I think what I'm hearing is that you're traveling the country, murdering women and stealing their cars. It sounds like to me. I don't know.
That's funny. That's funny.
Matlock over here. Yeah.
It's funny. Like when I had the Daewoo, you should have seen like at my house. I had 5 cars. I had this Daewoo. I had a 5-speed Accord wagon that I thought I would like, and I didn't. I ended up selling that. I had the Fiat. I had a Ford Fiesta 5-speed that I bought to buy and sell that I ended up not making money on, and a Honda Civic that I bought to try and sell that I ended up not making money on. So
Wow.
there's a weird loot used car lot at my house.
Yeah. Kevin. Hey, so we got to talk about the Mitsubishi.
Yes.
Can we talk about
curious.
please,
Yes,
for
I'm
anyone who
excited.
doesn't know what a Mitsubishi EV is, please educate the people.
Oh, geez. So basically, I think it holds the record for being the first like mass-produced electric vehicle. But I think there's like an asterisk there. I think it's because like it's like one of the first ones that can like go on the freeway and not like explode.
Okay.
Because the top speed of the iMeave is 81 miles an hour. So,
Okay.
but I found this Mitsubishi iMeave. I actually found it back right when Car Bibles kind of had their first relaunch, and I first got hired at Car Bibles back in December of 2020. And it came up on my Facebook Messenger, like, you should buy this. And I'm like, the guy only wanted $3,500 for it. But the thing is, though, it was in Detroit, which is about 3 hours drive, 3.5 hours drive for me.
Okay.
I was like, ooh, this would be a fun like way to do content. I'll buy this shitty electric car and like, I'll drive it back. But then it ended up selling. And then I guess it sold to some other guy and he tried to sell it for $5,500 and nobody was buying. I'm like, whatever, man. I guess that's dead in the water. Let's see what happens. So a year passes and it's now December 2021 and the iMeave pops up again.
Okay.
The same one.
Old friend.
It's definitely the same. It's really, because I had the VIN and everything, and I'm like, what's the VIN? And he like sent me the VIN, and I'm like, this is the exact same car I was looking at a year ago. And I'm like, well, I'm interested. I want it. He only wanted $3,500 for it. It only has 35,000 miles on it.
Okay.
But the thing is, though, it's actually not in Detroit. It's in Flint, Michigan, which I did not realize was a lot further away from Detroit than I thought.
It is.
So it was really more like an almost 4.5 hour drive from my house to go see this iMeave. So I'm like, well, let me go and see what it's all about. And I figured, I'm just going to buy this thing because I want to see what the hell it's going to do.
Yeah.
So
I just want to also point out.
I love you, Kevin. I love you so much.
People really think that I'm like doing all this shit, like, oh, he's just trying to do this for clout, or he's just like buying bad cars on purpose. I'm curious. I want to see what the fuck it's gonna do.
No.
I want to know more about this person who owned a Mitsubishi iMeave in Flint, Michigan, because I used to live right near Flint, Michigan. And I mean, I had a tow truck driver not pick me up because I had a foreign car. I can't imagine the bullying that this person endured in a GM town like Flint with this car.
It's funny. I actually did the VIN history on this vehicle, and it looks like it was leased like twice. And then I guess the lady bought out the lease. The guy who I bought it from, says, I guess he got it from his mother-in-law. She didn't drive very much or very far. And so the iMeave was perfect for her because like she didn't really need to go that far. And I guess it's too hard for her to get in and out of it now.
Mm.
So he sold it, and he was driving it for a year. But I mean, it's kind of not a very usable car in Flint.
Yeah, no, because it's like 30 miles minimum to go anywhere. Yeah,
exactly. Everything is so spread out, and there's really no electric car infrastructure there.
Right.
So he drove for a while, tried to sell it, and like people in Flint, it's not a usable car, and it's kind of far away from Detroit, where it would be at least a little bit more usable.
Yeah.
Because like I thought about trying to drive it from Flint to Detroit, and like I don't think it would have made it.
Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what's the range on it in like real world conditions?
So brand new, it was 62 miles, EPA rated.
Okay.
But after battery degradation, because it's a 10-year-old car now, I think I have about 72% battery power left. Like I actually did the calculations with the scan tool. With the way I drive and with me nursing the battery back to health and doing a few other things, I can get about 45 to 55 miles.
I mean, that's not bad, depending.
It's not a lot. I tell people it's not a lot, but it's more than you think.
Yeah.
At least, especially down here in Columbus, Ohio, which is a little bit more compact and has although I've written about it not having a great electric car infrastructure, it's still better than like other places.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
college town, so I mean, there's some.
It is, and it's so it really does work fairly well for what I needed to do. Like I live out here in the Columbus suburbs, so I can hop on the freeway, hop downtown, work from a coffee shop. By the time I'm done working from a coffee shop, the car's fully charged again.
Nice. Yeah.
That's
Like
amazing.
it's kind of pivoted to me driving it like almost every day during the week.
Really?
Yeah, I bought it New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Um, it was kind of a bitch and a half to get it back, but I got it back. And I'm not going to tell you that because I'm not. We'll come back to that eventually, maybe. But I got it. I got somebody to tow it 237 miles, and then it had some. So when I bought the car, it had some issues. Like the gear selector was flashing, and it wouldn't. I couldn't get it into drive.
Ah,
Like you
yes. Okay.
put it into drive, and then the regen brakes wouldn't work. You couldn't go faster than like 30 miles an hour. It had all sorts of like it was a Christmas tree of lights. And turns out that's like kind of a common problem for iMeves. The actual like this is actually one thing I like about the iMev. It's actually like remarkably basic. It doesn't have an e-shifter.
Right.
it's like
It's cable.
It's
It's an actual cable, like from a regular automatic transmission.
weird.
Right.
Very weird. So what's the cable attached to? Just like
It's attached to basically an electronic gear selector that turns like a lever on the side of the transmission, like you would any other like gas powered car from like the 90s.
okay, but it just has like one forward gear, one reverse gear sort of thing, and that's it.
I think it's just one gear, but the motor can turn backwards
Oh, okay.
to go
That
forward or
makes sense.
backwards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
But basically that the electric gear selector part that tells the EV, the electric the equivalent to the ECU, what gear the car is in, I guess had shorted out.
Oh,
Wow.
It's
Okay.
it's a common fix. But the thing is though, when I tried to, because it's a Michigan car and because the guy had driven it like this for so long, like he couldn't put it in drive and then the detents were wrong. Like he would put it in eco and it said it was a B, and then he would put it in B, and so the cable had stretched out.
Right.
So I drove it like that for a little bit, but that's like kind of, I could tell it was not very easy on the vehicle. So I put it in my roommate and I tried to fix it, and then we broke it. Unfortunately, like we tried to fix the electric part. We got that fixed, and then the cable broke.
yeah.
Okay.
I tried to fix it and then I broke it. It's a pretty. I'm familiar with that
We
dynamic. Yeah.
broke it, and then I was like, well, let's try and like glue it back together. So we got my roommate came up with this idea. He had a metal sleeve that he kind of put the little plastic end piece on, and then filled it with JB Weld,
Uh-huh.
and then assembled everything, and then we let it sit overnight.
Okay.
Which was kind of hard because at the time it was like -1 degree out, so like it took forever for it to set. But it set and it worked twice. Then it broke somewhere else up the line.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And then I was like, well, how do we take out the how do we fix this? How do we replace the shifter cable? And then I looked through. I found this the actual service manual, the dealer service manual.
Hell yeah.
Somehow hosted on a Russian site. So
Yep.
I don't
Always
I
the
don't know.
best.
It really is. I'm like, I hope the CIA doesn't like bomb my house. But
It was just for this weird electric car, I swear. Dude.
I swear, I have no ties to the Russian state. I just wanted to check. I just wanted to remove a shifter cable. So I was like, well, let me see how I can do this. And I think I read it too fast, and I thought it said that you had to drill out some rivets and all this shit. I'm like, that's too hard. It's going to the dealer. And then I realized it's going to be so expensive for the dealer to do this.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, because this is the only income stream that Mitsubishi has left. It's just waiting for someone to bring in their broken Mitsubishi.
Well, it's
Please.
funny you ask. It's funny you say that because in order for them to lower the battery at any Mitsubishi dealer, they need to call the home office.
Really?
They have to ask for a special battery lowering tool that none of the dealers have like in their service department. It has to be shipped out to them.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it's like servicing a McLaren F1.
Really though, and then also the battery is $12,000. And I'm like, you know what? it can't be that fucking hard. I bet it's not that hard. So my roommate was like, we can do it. We can do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Uh-huh.
So we had a break in the weather sometime in March. It somehow became 60 degrees for like a week straight. And I'm like, well, it's now or never.
Yeah.
So I ripped the interior out, which was surprisingly easy. That's actually one thing I really like about this car. You can definitely tell it's a very basic vehicle. So it doesn't take very long for me to do anything. Like it's only a few bolts that hold the thing in. Um, Took the seats out, took the carpet out, um, undid all the connections, and then after that, it took about a day for us to get it in and out. If you really like condense all the work time together.
That's amazing. And you didn't have to have a special tool mailed to you. It was just a Dayton floor jack.
A Dayton floor jack and a dolly.
Right.
Yep.
And gumption. Yeah. And a can-do
It's funny
attitude.
It's funny because I'm like, we really didn't test some of these wires if they're hot or not. And like, you know what? Oh well. We had to. It's funny that we had to air chisel out one of the high voltage lines because since this was a Michigan car, corrosion kind of had fused the line to itself to the battery.
I'm trying to find the picture of you or the video of you doing that. Yeah. I love the air chisel straight at it.
Oh man, that's
what else
scary.
were we supposed to do though?
Right. Yeah. Right. It's either going to come off or it's going to stay on forever.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's actually one concern I've had about this vehicle is like, I hate saying it. If this car hadn't gone to me, it would have been destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. For
'Cause
sure.
I can't picture anybody else doing what I did to keep this thing on the road.
Right. Right.
I mean, certainly not in Michigan.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's crazy. Well, good on you for rescuing this thing. It's a very odd little, like,
I kind of wish it was better, Like I wish it was either gas powered or the battery was bigger.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like I said, this is another car that I think journalists were too mean to.
Okay.
I feel like I've owned a lot of cars like that journalists like. I feel like that's kind of started my auto journalism career path. It's like I grew up reading a lot of like Car and Driver and Motor Trend and even Jalopnik. I think Jalopnik came on the scene when I was like 13 or 14, and I would parrot these like automotive opinions to my parents, and they would basically like low key tell me to shut the fuck up.
Okay. Okay.
And at first I was just like, oh, they just don't know what they're talking about. But then they would actually like quantify why they bought the vehicles that they did and how they felt about them. And it's like, you know what? The older I got, the more I realized, okay, maybe they're not the automotive opinions that, I have, but they have very valid reasons for having them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about, buying these unloved cars. Like, I don't believe what a lot of other people say.
Sure.
Like I've owned 4 Toyota Yaris's, and I remember when I bought my first one, I was like a prolific forum poster. Everybody was like, "Why would you buy that piece of shit car? It's so awful and terrible." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? This car is great." You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's low key how I feel about the iMeave. It obviously can't do a lot of things.
It was never meant to, though.
How does it drive like when it's, I mean, range aside, because I mean that's probably its biggest issue, right? But like how does it actually drive just like around town,
It's reasonably quick. It does not feel, it only has I think 66 horsepower, but it feels like it has more than that.
Okay.
I'd say the only real power deficiencies really come out at like speeds above 65.
Yeah.
Sure.
But one, the top speed is 81, and two, it's kind of not really designed for freeway driving. I mean, it can do it.
But it's not happy about it.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the passing power.
Right.
Right. That makes sense.
It has weirdly good brakes.
Okay.
I was wondering if you've ever taken an autocross.
Well, I'm not going to spoil any more content, but I just stay tuned. I might have some
Hell yeah.
stuff coming out.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
It's also like since it's rear wheel drive, if you turn the traction control off on the wet, it'll definitely stick its ass out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was rear wheel drive.
Oh
Yeah.
this thing is basically a long Smart 4.2.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's basically a 4.2 with all the crap taken out of it. If they have the same Dion tube axle or the Dion tube axle, the gas powered versions have like I think the same Mitsubishi engine. It's just that the Smart has that shitty AMT versus the Mitsubishi I having a 4-speed auto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that smart car transmission is truly, truly horrendous.
Yeah, but like it kind of fixes everything that's like wrong with the smart car, and it's actually like kind of
Interesting.
interesting to drive. I feel like a gas powered iMeave would be probably the most interesting compact car sold in the past 20 years.
Huh.
I,
Yeah. That's really interesting.
I love this because I think that like you're taking a like things that were really kind of like judged without like the luxury of time and without context, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Like for example, the lady who I understand why this woman leased this car twice because back when electric cars were first coming back out back in like 2011 2012, incentives were so strong both on the state and the federal level.
Mhm.
Like I have a piece brewing about how the iMeave made sense in context because I've seen you know advertisements from back in 2012 where these cars were leasing for $69 a month.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
At $69 a month, who cares if it does 62 miles? That's like less than what I pay for my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in 2012 dollars, like,
Yeah,
right?
it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Is it a very good
Wow.
car? No, but it's $69 a month. Who cares?
Right.
Well, and also, I mean, these wheels are kind of coming back to being
Those
in
wheels are
style
hot.
again.
Those wheels are hot, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a really sharp looking car for some
Yeah.
reason, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little goofy looking, but it's like it's awkward looking, but it's sort of like charming.
You
in its
can't
awkward-
you can't
Yeah.
frown when you see it. Like it's like, yeah.
Right.
Somebody
Right,
said
right.
it looks like an iMac, and I'm like, it really does.
Yeah,
It
that
does.
tweet you had. Yeah. Right next to the blue iMac. Hell yeah.
It's funny because I actually had one growing up back in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
I had a Bondi blue iMac.
Bondi blue. Yeah, man. God.
That's funny.
I want all of the translucent stuff like that to come back. I did one of those like translucent ones on my Switch. Like I love it. Yeah.
Like I said, I low key think that Mitsubishi should bring back the iMeave. I think it only needs a few tweaks to be a better car.
Okay.
Like I think with like CarPlay and a better battery and standard fast charging, it would be like kind of compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if they have the resources to do that at this point. Though.
They probably don't. I don't think
in
they
the
have the
States.
resources to make this car
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell. Like they didn't even like start from the ground up. They took one of their Japanese K cars and made it a little bit wider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, how did stuff go on reassembly? Because I think that's where like you can kind of separate like if it's a car kind of worth keeping and like if it's okay shitty, like if stuff goes back together okay, like if tons of fasteners
did.
and stuff snapped while you're taking them off, like yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the things, it definitely did not feel like it was a vehicle designed for Michigan.
Yeah, air chiseling
Like, a
aside.
lot of like the air chiseling aside, like most of the fasteners that held the plastic beauty shield underneath the battery had completely disintegrated.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So like now a couple of them are held in with sheet metal screws now. But whatever, I don't care. Like I said, this car is probably going to go to the grave after within the next 2 owners.
Yeah.
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 It's surprisingly, we thought it was going to be a lot harder to put back together, but it really didn't. It really was actually fairly easy.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it looks like there's plenty of room to like get the seats out. The interior looks like it came out well. There's that weird hole underneath the driver's seat. Why?
So it's like I said, this car definitely started life as a gas vehicle. That hole used to be the fuel pump
Ah, okay.
because
Okay.
the gas, like I said, the gas powered iMeave is
Okay.
engine, so the fuel tank is underneath the front seats.
Gotcha. Okay.
But now that hole is for the battery cutoff.
Okay.
Interesting. Huh.
Oh man, it's so weird when they retrofit like an electric drivetrain to that gas car, like because they did it with the 500e, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick up one of those if you get a chance?
No.
Okay.
Well, I have some other electric car content. I'm not going to spoil it yet.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
another weird, obscure EV that I'm trying to buy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
All
will say
right.
it is Chinese. It is Chinese, so we'll find out.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Exclusive.
I've literally been trying to buy this thing for a year, and nobody's. Somebody's going to sell me this fucking car. God damn it! But the I-need kind of cut in front of it right now. I'm kind of like got a lot of things, and I still have a Honda CRZ that you guys have probably not only heard me post about twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize you had one of those.
It's
That's
still
cool.
broken.
I like the CRZ. A friend of ours has one. He loves it. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Right on, Kevin. Man.
Well, I love hearing about your fleet, and you'll have to come back and definitely update us when it changes because it's bonkers and I love it.
Yeah.
Would you like to play some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Dave, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You go first, Ian. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for yours. Yeah.
All right. So before we get into mine, there's another thing on this show that we talk about a lot, and we call it car stanza.
Okay.
And so this is a phenomenon when people like misbadge their cars, and this is just a little appetizer for what we're going to get into with the license plate game. But I saw a Lexus yesterday, and I want to get your take on the car stanza phenomenon in general, and also this car in particular, because it's one of the more bizarre ones that I've ever seen, and I almost crashed into someone getting a picture of it. So, Dave, can you put it up on the?
Yes, I will. So here we go. Yeah, take it in, Kevin. This is a Lexus.
It's an RX 350.
GT?
GT, apparently.
Oh my god!
And I think is that the GT from like an Edge, an Edge GT? Or no, because those are STs.
Yeah,
that looks like a Porsche font.
Yeah, it does.
It could be, yeah.
I don't know.
That looks like a Porsche font to me.
Hey, we're Googling Porsche font, Kevin.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a pretty spectacular example of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Font.
That's
it.
It's
a Porsche font.
Good eye, dude.
So, I'm sorry, I was a graphic design major at one point in time.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Good eye.
Quit digging, you hit oil. Yeah. So tell us kind of like, have you noticed car stanzas before?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if that makes you feel better, then knock yourself out.
Right.
I think it is pretty goofy, but I mean, they didn't ask me to pay for it.
Our thing about it is always like, who is it for? Because if anybody who would appreciate that sort of badge would know better. So like, there's the demographic is yourself only. I think it's for old people. I don't know if you've ever been around a whole bunch of old people who they just kind of like buy shit sometimes. They don't necessarily know what it means. Like you go on their phone and they have like $1,000 worth of like Candy Crush apps, like in-app purchases. Okay, yeah.
I feel like sometimes old people do that with their cars. Like you'll see like a Buick LaCrosse that has like Honda Type R stickers because like the person thought it was cool.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. This is like what we associate with a cool car. So we're putting it on our car too.
We're putting it on our car because to me, my car is cool, even though it is a fucking LaCrosse with a Landau top.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like, the thing that was surprising to me about this is that usually a Lexus RX 350 is not the car you see putting M badges on and stuff like that. They're not trying to pretend to be sporty because they bought an RX 350.
No, those cars are the opposite of sporty.
Right.
So, why?
I don't know. Side note, I'm actually like passively looking for one of these.
Okay. My wife has a 450H. It's friggin' awesome. Like the drivetrain is fantastic.
I kind of want to do some crossover off-road content. Like I would love to get like a 450 or a 350H from like 2 generations before.
Yes.
And see what it can do off-road. I know it's going to be absolute trash.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Toyota Highlander, so it's not horrible, right?
It's not horrible, but the thing is though, like Toyota does when they do hybrid all-wheel drive, the rear axle is electric.
Okay.
So like there's a lot of caveats. Like it's not very powerful. Like it's always finding ways to like not turn on.
Okay.
Right.
Huh.
Like I think the Lexus UX is UX hybrid. I think that its rear motor only has 7 horsepower.
I'm sorry, what?
It has 7 horsepower, but it's all-wheel drive.
But is it so there's no transfer case? There's no
Correct. It is an electric motor with some lines that go from the battery.
Huh.
what? I didn't realize
That's how Toyota's hybrid all-wheel drive has always worked.
So that gets a participation trophy when it comes to like all-wheel drive.
It will get you out of your driveway, maybe.
Right. Right.
But the car is basically front-wheel drive.
Huh.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. Huh.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Well, let's jump into the license plate game. So in this
Yes.
game, you're going to get 3 cars, and the license plates will be blacked out.
Okay.
And then you're going to get the text of those license plates, and then you're going to have to do the Highlights magazine matchy match to say
Okay.
that this text goes with this car.
right.
Okay.
What's going to help you most in this game is just gross generalization, like as
Oh my God.
stereotypical about people as you could be. Like that typically is what what helps you out. So exactly what you think of a person who would buy this car and modify it in whatever way is the person who's going to match to this vanity plate text. So these are 3 cars that I've seen within the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
God. Okay.
All right.
Real quick, have you ever had a vanity plate for one of your cars?
No.
Okay.
But my license plate is GDA 4666.
Oh,
And
sweet.
Exactly. And I have made sure that it comes with whatever car that I have. I've had this plate for like 8 years now
Yeah.
Nice.
because it's just so fucking iconic. Like my roommate said, it's GDA goddamn asshole for Satan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you get the Trip 6, you cannot give it up. Yeah.
You can't give it up. I can't give it up.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
That also
So I have
means
a
you
little-
can
I have
never
a-
move like
Right.
out of state.
Well, at least not out of state. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I have this little angry black hatchback that sounds like hell. With
Hell
a
yeah.
satanic license plate and like
Yeah.
all sorts of gay stickers on the back. So
I'm into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just go rip some donuts in a church parking lot and you'll be
geez.
everyone would really love you.
Oh man.
Wait, they don't have any churches in Ohio.
Oh my god.
I grew up in Missouri, so yeah. Yeah. And
Oh
yeah,
geez.
yeah.
Oh geez.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so anyway, yes, so here you go. So feel free to take it in and we'll just kind of narrate. And
Yeah,
then,
so Dave hasn't seen these either. So Dave, you describe what you're seeing.
yeah. And then
right.
we'll zoom in on each of them. Yeah, stuff like that. Okay? All right. So here you go. Let's see. All right. So we have a Porsche Boxster, Ian? Is that a Boxster?
Yeah, 718 Boxster, yeah.
Okay, we've got in silver with the red interior, sure. We've
Top
got
down. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, top down in Denver. It was 62 degrees today, so you got to
This
pop
was
the
in
top.
This was in Santa Fe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
We've got a very beige Toyota Prius Prime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we've got another F Sport Lexus RX 350, also in beige, which I like their beige. I don't like it on that car because of like all the D pillar stuff, C to D pillar stuff. But anyway, the license plates are.
Oh yeah. We got Love Toy, LUV Toy.
And they're not talking about a Chevy Love pick 'em up truck, are they? No.
I mean, they might be.
Okay.
Maybe that was the previous car. Then we have That Woman. THATWMN.
Uh-huh.
And then Behave.
Oh,
It's spelled like behave.
Oh man, these are close. These
Yeah.
are all close. I can see them on each of these cars.
Yeah. This
Right.
one's gonna be tough, I think. Anything? Any context clues that you're noticing? I know that there's a sticker on the Boxster.
Yeah.
There's not a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of mods or
No.
anything to look at.
Right?
Oh man.
Yeah. Boy, yeah, really. I mean, I like that the RX 350 is street parked and there's a valet it's not a valet parking, it's like a valet siding. I thought they parked it towards the valet thing, like fuck it, we're self park. Like
No, yeah, this is waiting to be valeted. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
I feel like Love Toy is going to be the Prius.
Okay.
It just seems like one of those things that like some weirdo would be like, "Oh, this is just such a sexy car," and they try and convince you of that, and you're just like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
So you're saying that the type of freak who wants to advertise that they're a freak would also think that the
Drive a
Prius is
Prius Prime. Yes, they're going to be very strange people.
Gotcha.
They're like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
I love that. I love this. I love that line of reasoning. Okay.
Also, it's the only Toyota, so Love Toy, right?
Oh man, you know what? That actually makes more sense. It's probably a Toyota, but like they love their Toyota, but they're too stupid to realize that has a double entendre.
There you go.
Have a Prius Prime. He doesn't have a Prius Prime. A Prius Prime owner would not think about that.
Okay. I kind of like your freaky deek take more, but you know,
maybe it could be both. I'm just talking out of my ass here. It could be both.
No. See, this is why we play this game, Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
We learn about each other and our freaks that are around us. Yes.
So we still have that woman and Behave.
I feel like that woman is the Porsche because I feel like she divorced him. And
okay.
Their car.
Okay. I think I'm going with that woman for the RX 350.
See, I think the RX 350 is going to be Behave because the guy got the F Sport thinking it's comparable to like an X5M because he doesn't accelerate harder than 20% at any time.
Gotcha. But it's F Sport. It's got the F Sport badge.
Exactly. To him, it feels fast. And it's cheaper than the X5M.
It says sport right on the thing. So it's got to be.
Right.
Dave, what's your reasoning? What's your reasoning for that woman and Lexus?
I can just imagine like a real estate agent like named Connie and like she just like she owns like a certain area of Denver. She's like the Baker District is mine, right? And Connie's just tootling people around in her Lexus F Sport. And her license plate is that woman. I don't know. It's painting a whole picture in my head.
Okay. Oh, I just saw it's Oklahoma plate.
It is. This was in Oklahoma City. So this was outside a nice hotel in Oklahoma City. I don't know if that changes anyone's answer.
That woman almost makes me think of like a Winston Wolfe kind of person, right? Like, why are we calling that woman, right? Like why is she making her presence known? Yeah. I imagine the first things that this person says when she shows up somewhere is I have arrived. Right?
I don't know. I still think it might be some old man who didn't know the difference between an F Sport and an X5M.
Yeah. I like where your head's at. Okay. All right.
Because I knew people like that. Like I grew up with people who like bought Kia Amantes because it was cheaper than
the Jag XJ220.
And it looked the same.
Yeah.
Even though they look nothing fucking alike.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Oh, we did have a full-on car stanzed Kia. Yeah, that had like the whole. They tried so hard to make it look like an S-Type, S-Type. Yeah,
it's funny. Okay. Speaking of Kia Amantes, I almost bought one instead of the Daewoo, but it didn't pan out.
and Kia's still around, right? Yeah, you couldn't have, orphaned raced it.
I could have because it's an orphan model.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that was less orphaned and more mercy killed, but yes. Those things were awful. I had a I had a friend when I was back a long time, previous life, and she was a coworker, and she said that her check engine light came on, so she added oil. And then her check engine light came on again, and so she added oil. She had a Kia Monte, and we went out to check her oil, and it was coming out the dipstick.
Oh my God.
And she was like, "It's running really terribly. I keep putting oil in." And we were like, "Was it an oil light or was it a check engine?" She was like, "I don't know. It was a light, so I put oil in." It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, enough trying to distract me. What are your answers?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
go ahead,
So
Kevin.
I'm going to say that the Prius Prime is Love Toy.
Mhm.
The Boxster is That Woman, and the F Sport RX is going to be Behave.
Okay.
Okay.
What about you, Dave?
I'm going Love Toy on the Prius. I'm going Behave on the Porsche. And I'm going That Woman on the RX 350.
Interesting. I will say that one of you is correct.
Oh, God.
One of us got all three.
One of you got all three. Would either of you like to change your answers?
No.
No.
Okay, let's see.
Locked in. Okay.
Let's see. Final answers.
Here we go. All right. Answers. The Porsches Behave, Love Toy for the Prius, and That Woman for the RX.
So I will say, Dave, I think you nailed the Toyota thing. My head was exactly where Kevin's is that these are the people from the Will Ferrell SNL sketch from a long time ago who get in the hot tub and talk about lovers. That was who I was picturing with this. But I think you're right. I think a sexual connotation of anything wouldn't occur to them. They're just, I love my Toyota. Why wouldn't I have a license plate that says that? And I think the Behave thing, I think that might be, I think my theory on this is it's an Austin Powers, someone who's still quoting Austin Powers 20 years later and they're driving a convertible.
Yeah, but I could also see that person driving an RX, to Kevin's credit.
I feel like Behave is just one of those things. They're like, this is their retirement car.
Yeah.
It's probably a base model Boxster, which is all this person needs.
Right.
Like, behave so you don't do something. What old people are always saying, behave yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
In a little flirty way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, I'm going out tonight. Well, behave.
Behave. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
And this was in Santa Fe. This was in Santa Fe, which is the home of middle-aged women on a journey. So, I mean, that's where you go to eat, pray, love in the U.S. And then That Woman, I think, Dave, you're right. This is a realtor.
Yeah, it's Connie, man. Yeah,
she owns several shirts with wine puns on them.
Yeah. Hey, you do you, Connie. You do you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In your beige RX. Yeah.
This is probably her fifth RX.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was the license plate game.
Oh, geez. How fun. I enjoyed it.
Now, I have one as well.
Oh, God.
That Ian hasn't seen.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, gird your loins. This one, every now and then we title these. This one's called Hippie Shit.
Oh, God.
All right. Okay.
Why do you do this? You're gonna make
it's
me
because we live in Colorado and there's fucking hippies everywhere, Ian.
There are.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
All right. Here you go. Here's the quiz.
Oh, man. I thought that said penis love.
Kevin is referring to someone's license plate that has PCENLOV. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Either that or they were an IT guy that's like, I love my PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no, that's penis love.
Penis love. Hey. Right? Or it could be somebody so clueless that they're like, this could only mean the love toy. This could only mean peace and love. Right?
Okay, so
that's what it means.
I think it
Oh
does.
man.
Yep. Welcome to our hippie granola shit we have to deal with in Colorado, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here sometime. We'll take you go-karting.
Yeah, I'll have to come back. I flew out to Denver in October. I wrote a
Okay.
story about that.
Yeah.
About that four-wheel drive Tucson I almost bought.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you came out and fixed a stranger's car for them. Yeah.
He ended up selling it, but he did like have a better idea of what was wrong with the vehicle.
You're a good man, Kevin. You're a good dude.
It just felt like I would be ripping somebody off, you know?
Hey,
Yeah.
not everybody in the universe is like that. Like anybody who doesn't know needs to read Kevin's Car Bible's article about how you flew 1,100 miles to fix with the intent to buy a car, and you just helped an internet stranger fix it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll put a link to that in the YouTube description for sure. But
Awesome.
anyway, we got to get back to these maniacs. All right. So there's a red. What kind of truck is that?
That's a Tacoma.
Okay, right, of course, in Colorado, it's a Toyota Tacoma, right? We've got a white Infiniti QX60, Ian's favorite SUV of all time.
Oh my God, what a pile.
And a Subaru Outback wagon, of course.
Yeah.
And our license plates. Kevin, you want to read them?
Always be. Oh man, I thought always be you. Man, my head is in the gutter. I thought that was like somehow a reference to blowjobs. Embrace with a C at the end, and then peace and love.
Yep.
But it's
Or penis
and love.
Yeah.
Or penis love.
Yeah. Hey, just roll the dice.
I feel like peace and love is going to be on the Subaru because that is so stereotypical, and I feel like a Subaru owner would like try hard to make that work, and it's clearly not fucking working here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, of all of these, always embrace is like, okay, I'm skeeved out. I immediately think this person should be on a list, where they shouldn't be just be restricted in their movements. Peace and love, whatever. Dime a dozen. We got millions of you in Colorado. Okay. Always be you makes me angry though, because you don't know. Maybe I need to be somebody else. Maybe I should be somebody else.
Always boo, like always boo things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Boo, that sucks.
Right.
Like, this license plate sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now let me zoom in just to provide any possible context clues.
I'm most curious about the truck, to be honest.
Honestly, you're not going to get much because it's a blurry picture. Unfortunately, the camera picked up the windshield grit more than it did the truck. So I don't think there's much to get. It's a red Tacoma. Not a lot of people get red Tacomas up here, but
yeah, we got a step.
Yeah,
and we got a top on the. We got a cover, a bed cover.
Yeah, tonneau.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Then Ian's favorite Infiniti QX60, the Mike Ward dealer plate that that I'm familiar with. They did the pre-sales inspection on my
Is that another
M45.
QX60 in the background?
Yes, it is. It's QX Inception. Or is that an 80?
I have no clue. These cars all look the same. I can't remember. This is the worst fucking idea for Infiniti to change their names like this.
Right.
I keep calling this car the Infiniti JX.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Which is more memorable. I don't know what any of these Q names are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either. I mean, we've talked about it so many times. I've driven a bunch of them. I could not tell you. Like, gun to my head, if you had to ask me, like, which one's the Pathfinder, which one's the Armada, which one's the whatever, I would be like, I don't know.
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, right. Like vaguely bigger number, bigger car, but that's not always true.
But sometimes, unless it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
All
you
right.
got the Infiniti, then we've got the Subaru. Now, I wish I had a more detail on this. This was a very detailed license plate frame. It was very ornate. So I don't know if that helps you or not.
What was the motif?
It was just like kind of like bedazzled and like embellished. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure you guys had that information.
I think that's helpful because I think that my my knee jerk was to say peace and love on the Subaru because that's kind of what you think of. But
Right now, I'm not sure.
now that's making me think more like self-helpy. Always be you. I think maybe might be the Subaru. What are you thinking?
I think Embrace is going to be on the QX60 because they are embracing the fact they're underwater on that car. So,
okay.
Always Be You, I think, is going to be the truck.
Okay.
And I think Peace and Love is still going to be the Subaru. But I'm probably wrong.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go wildly different. I
feel like Always Be You. I feel like Always Be You is going to be the truck because it's red, and I bet they got shit for buying it.
Okay.
Like, you shouldn't buy no red truck. It stands out too much. Well, I'm always going to be myself, and they made this red truck their fucking personality, and they have a red Tacoma, and I bet it's the first thing they fucking talk about anytime they go anywhere.
Gotcha.
Okay.
The veganism of automobiles, the red Tacoma.
Exactly. You have a red car, then you will never shut the fuck up about it.
Okay.
I feel like it doesn't even matter the make or model. You go to the party like, oh, I drive a car. It's red. What kind of car is it? It's a fucking Kia Sophia. It doesn't matter. It's red. So it's
red.
It's interesting.
Red car. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to say Embrace is the Tacoma.
Okay.
I'm picturing someone who's a close talker and maybe a little too aggressive with their touches. That's what I'm picturing with the Tacoma. I think Always Be You is going to be the Infinity because it's the most anonymous, boring car possible. So, of course, someone's going to tell someone to be an individual. And then we'll go with Peace and Love on the Subaru.
Okay. All right. I have bad news for most of you.
Oh, God.
All right, here you go.
This is anyone's game. I see it out there.
Really, this is just a fucking lottery, right? Yeah, here you go. So here's the answers. Peace and Love on the red Tacoma.
Wow.
Ian, you got Always Be You on the Infinity.
Yeah.
And then Embrace on the Subaru. So thank you, Peta and Tara, for sending in the cars. My coworker Tara sent the Subaru to me earlier today, and it just said Embrace, and I said, tell them I would rather not. Yeah. So,
oh my God, people are insane. People are crazy people.
We have some special folks out here in Colorado. So we've heard from other listeners that like Virginia, you can get like vanity plates for $10, right? So that just breeds insanity, right? But yeah, people go the extra mile up here. But anyway, yeah. So Kevin, thank you for joining us on the show. Let's tell the people about like where they can find you, what you'd like them to read, because you write wonderful articles. We want people to see your stuff.
Yeah, so I am at both Car Bibles and The Drive, although kind of primarily The Drive right now. Just honestly click on The Drive and you'll see me there. I do a lot of DIY stuff, but I also do a lot of cultural critique, electric vehicle stuff.
Yeah.
Just click my byline. You'll probably find something you like.
Yeah.
Also, a great follow on Twitter, so everyone should follow.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
They're both Daytona USA.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Dave, if people enjoyed whatever the hell this was, what should they do?
They should definitely text us vanity license plates to 720-515-1391. So if you see something insane out there, go ahead and send it to us. Snap a pic, text it to us, and we'll put it in the hopper and we'll put it in a license plate game. I got like over 100 some odd insane people waiting to be put in a license plate game. Ian, your dad sent me one the other day. So there you
God.
go. Yeah.
Can only imagine.
Yeah, and Jake Thievis sent us a couple as well. So yeah, so thank you, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah, so send us vanity plate 720-515-1391. Yeah, and just subscribe on YouTube and do all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Kevin, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys,
Dave,
for having me.
you're fine too.
Yeah, you know.
We love you, everybody. Goodbye.